Let me give you the one number that tells this entire story. Paraguay committed somewhere between 12 and 13 fouls, several of them the kind that make you wince, plus a small pile of off-the-ball shoves the referee did not even bother to whistle. The number of yellow cards they received across the full 90 minutes was 0. Now hold that in your head, because here is the part that tips it from incompetent into almost artistic. France got booked 3 times. If you are enjoying breakdowns like this one, do me a favor and hit the like button and subscribe to the channel, because the quarterfinals are going to be wild and you will not want to miss what comes next. What unfolded in Philadelphia on the 4th of July was not really football. It was 90 minutes of shoving and swinging and cheap shots, of French players getting hacked down off the ball, of elbows flying into ribs, of a World Cup favorite being charged into again and again as though this were a car park brawl and not the round of 16. It was horrible to watch. And standing right in the middle of it, whistle in hand, one man looked at every bit of it and did absolutely nothing. France beat Paraguay 1-0, and they are through to the quarterfinals. But almost nobody walked out of that stadium talking about the scoreline. The real story was the chaos on the pitch and the man who was supposed to stop it and simply refused. He was so bad that L'Équipe, the famous French paper that has spent decades savaging footballers, handed him its rarest and lowest score, a 1 out of 10. Their entire verdict was 4 words long. He got almost everything wrong. On paper, this was a round of 16 tie, a World Cup favorite against a plucky South American side that had already dumped Germany out on penalties. In reality, it was closer to a street fight with a whistle occasionally blowing in the background, and the man holding that whistle spent 90 minutes doing an impression of a bystander who had wandered onto the pitch by accident. His name is Ilgiz Tantashev. He is from Uzbekistan. He has been a FIFA-listed official for 13 years, which means he has had 13 years to learn what a yellow card is for. And on that Saturday, in front of the entire watching world, he decided he would rather not use them, at least not on the team that needed them. Return to that one number because it deserves a second look. Paraguay committed somewhere between 12 and 13 fouls, and the number of yellow cards they received across the full 90 minutes was 0. 0. Here's the part that tips it from incompetent into something stranger. France got booked 3 times. Manu Kone, Bradley Barcola, and Michael Olise were all cautioned. So it was not that Ilgiz Tantashev forgot his cards in the tunnel. He had them. He knew where they were. He just kept them exclusively for the team on the receiving end of the beating. Read that back slowly. The side throwing elbows walked away spotless. The side getting elbowed picked up 3 yellows. Let us actually catalog what he let slide, because dark arts is a polite phrase, and this deserves specifics. Andres Cubas went straight through Adrien Rabiot with a tackle that had nothing to do with the ball. Nothing. Juan José Cáceres kicked out at Kylian Mbappé after losing possession, a petty little swipe of the boot. Matias Galarza stuck his hand directly into Jules Koundé's face, then later that same afternoon threw an arm at Kylian Mbappé while the Frenchman was running clean towards goal. And in maybe the most flagrant one, Gabriel Avalos dropped an elbow into the stomach of Dayot Upamecano while Paraguay were chasing the game. An elbow to the ribs on a World Cup stage, and the referee's response to all of it was the same. A shrug, play on, 0. Even the cynicism got rewarded. When Michael Olise tugged the shirt of Matias Galarza, Galarza flung himself to the ground trying to win a booking, and it worked. The diver got the free kick, the victim got the yellow. Ilgiz Tantashev bought it every single time from one side and never once from the other. The pundits did not dress it up. Joe Hart, the former England goalkeeper watching on the British Broadcasting Corporation, said Paraguay's players were an absolute disgrace, and added that if they were on his team, he would be dragging them off the pitch himself. Micah Richards called it embarrassing to see, and pointed out the maddening thing, which is that Paraguay were genuinely a good defensive unit and did not need any of this. And Thomas Hitzelsperger, the former Germany midfielder, went furthest of all, saying that as a neutral you could have no respect for them, and that it went past disgraceful into something worse. When 3 separate professionals in a studio are reaching for the thesaurus to describe how ugly a match was, it was not just spice, it was rotten. Now let us take it seriously for a second, because there is a fair counter to make. Paraguay were not there to entertain you. They came into this game with a plan, and the plan was simple. Sit deep, pack the box with a 5-back, frustrate the favorites, drag it to extra time and penalties, and try to repeat the miracle they pulled against Germany. For long stretches, it nearly worked. It took France more than 20 minutes to muster a shot. France did not hit the target until the 55th minute. Orlando Zil, Paraguay's goalkeeper and their hero against Germany, made save after save and produced a genuinely brilliant double stop in stoppage time to deny Kylian Mbappé again. Defensively, they were organized, disciplined, and hard to break down. The tragedy of Paraguay is that they were good enough not to need the fouling, and they did it anyway. But even granting all of that, none of it excuses the man in the middle. A referee's entire job is to set a line and hold it. Compare it to the Canada versus Morocco game earlier that same day, where Michael Oliver flashed 6 yellow cards before halftime, stamped his authority on it early, and the match calmed right down and behaved itself in the second half. That is what control looks like. Ilgiz Tantashev did the exact opposite. He let the temperature rise, let the fouls stack up, and let the players sense there were no consequences. By the end, there were scuffles, insults flying from the bench, and Gustavo Velasquez trying to confront France players after the final whistle. A game gets like that because a referee let it get like that. Here's a detail that should bother you even more. The official foul count came out at 13 for Paraguay and 11 for France, which almost makes it sound like a balanced, evenly matched physical contest. It was not. That number is a lie of omission because the referee missed a mountain of Paraguay fouls entirely. The tactical little trips and the off-the-ball shoves that never made it into the count at all. So the true gap was far wider than 2. And even on the fouls, he did somehow notice only one team ever paid for them. The stats sheet flattered him. The eye test buried him. The moment that actually decided the match tells you everything about him, too. In the second half, substitute Desiree Doué went on a run, beat one man, beat 2, and was chopped down in the box by Diego Gomez. Clear penalty. Ilgiz Tantashev waved it away and gave nothing. It took the video assistant referee to drag him over to the monitor and effectively make the decision for him. And then, even after he had finally pointed to the spot, Paraguay's players crowded him to delay it while Gustavo Velasquez scuffed up the penalty spot with his boot. And Ilgiz Tantashev had to rebuild the spot before Kylian Mbappé could even take it. Kylian Mbappé sent Orlando Gil the wrong way, and France had their winner. France advanced on a penalty their own referee did not want to give. That penalty was the 7th goal of the tournament for Kylian Mbappé, pulling him level with Lionel Messi in the Golden Boot race and taking him to 19 goals in 19 World Cup appearances, one behind Lionel Messi on the all-time list. And in a way, it summed up his day, because Kylian Mbappé got kicked, elbowed, hacked, and provoked from the first minute and mostly just laughed at it. His line afterwards was perfect. He said Paraguay thought France would show up in tuxedos, and that France knew how to play dirty too. Didier Deschamps, for his part, refused to criticize anyone, said there had been insults from the other bench, and admitted he told his 2 biggest players to physically stand around Kylian Mbappé at the end because he was afraid they would chop him down. All of this happened in a furnace. The temperature at kickoff was recorded at 101 degrees Fahrenheit, or 38 degrees Celsius, making it one of the hottest World Cup matches ever played, not far off the all-time record of 109 degrees Fahrenheit, or 43 degrees Celsius, from Ireland against Mexico back in 1994. So while the referees stood there ignoring elbows, the players were also slowly cooking. And then came the kicker. Ilgiz Tantashev goes nowhere because FIFA suspended him almost immediately, which is the closest thing to an admission you will ever get from that organization that, yes, that really was as bad as you thought it was. France go on to face Morocco in the quarterfinal. So let me hear from you. Have you ever seen a referee cost himself his job this fast? Drop your worst ever call down in the comments below. Hit subscribe if you have not already. And stick around for the quarterfinals, because if this is how the round of 16 went, we are all in for something.